Well, as this trip of Japan is winding down, unfortunately, I don't have too many crazy stories like last time. Like last time, I had that on video, the mom and the daughter asking me to have sex with them at the same time. That was pretty crazy. It was crazy. Just the amount of bad luck I had. I lost $2,000 basically in the first month that I was there. That's why I basically had to come back home because I was not expecting to lose $2,000 right when I got there. In terms of bad luck, I walked onto a train, pants got caught on something, right side ripped off. Lost the expensive necklace I've had since I was a kid. Brand new boots, got a hole in them. Basically any and got to the place refrigerator was broken. Anything that could happen, whatever. Incredible bad luck to the point that I had to come back, right? And so then this trip, I have not had any crazy story like that financially. I probably the only thing that I feel like I got scammed really was that. I tried to. I was paying at when they were doing the Cherry Blossom Festival. I gave a girl 1,000 yen bill and it was like 500 or something, and she wouldn't give me my change back. And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Dude, what? Where's the change, real guy? What the real guy? Change?" And she just like was giving me a dumb look, and I'm like, "Bro, really?" I don't know. But other than that, but weird stories. Has there been any weird stories? So I'm gonna tell you a pretty crazy story yesterday. So if you saw on my Instagram, so walking around, I met up with this. Randomly ran into this other guy that I actually had met last time I was here, and so we just started talking about what he's been up to the past few months. And we run into a couple of these like drunk girls, and we talked to them for a while, and it's pretty funny. They, I mean, just the story. They're like, they kept on saying basically, "We are underage virgins. We are underage virgins." I was like, okay. So they were pretty drunk. I wasn't about it, but the one guy that I was talking to, I was like, man, I was like, dude, if you like them, go with them, right? I mean, you know, again, unfortunately, I'm too picky, but anyway, so we were talking to them for a while, and then, eventually they were drunk and they started running off. And so anyway, we do another lap, and then we run into them again. And man, I guess I don't know how long they were gone, 15, 20 minutes, they were hammered, right? And so I'm talking to the one girl, and she's totally blasted, dude. Like, she's out of it, and she's basically using me as a pillow, laying down. And I'm like, man, dude, we need to like help your friend, dude. She's like not looking too good. So he's there flirting with the one girl for a while. He's like flirting with the girl that can still talk. I'm consoling the girl that is like passed out on me, like just like mad her. She just like used me as a pillow. And eventually, like I'm like, okay, hey, watch these girls. You know what I mean? Watch her, because I gotta go pee now, right? So anyway, I'm trying to find a bathroom, and eventually, because if you've ever been in that area in Shinjuku, it's hard to find a bathroom sometimes because they randomly close it off. And I've showed before, since I've been getting sick so much this trip, I've actually had to find other secret bathrooms. So I've been using the parking lot bathroom when every other bathroom is full. So I got to find the parking lot bathroom, basically go pee. Eventually, I'm like, hey, where are you guys? And he's like, oh, we're in the Kabukicho Tower. The girls had to go to the bathroom and something happened, And I'm like, okay, what happened? So I get there, and I see this guy that I had been noticing that was like watching me while I was like consoling this drunk girl, right? And I was like, isn't that the guy that had been like watching me this entire, I don't know, it's like, I don't know how long it was while she was laying on me, like, I don't know, 20 minutes or something like that. I don't know. I don't think more than a half hour. It wasn't that long, but I'm like, oh, that's the guy that was watching me the whole time while I was this drunk girl was using me as a pillow. And I saw the police were there and talking to like the security guard and stuff like that. And he's like, dude, that guy right there. He's like, dude. So anyway, I guess what happened is he's like, they said they had to go to the bathroom, so he went to the Kabukicho Tower or whatever, that thing right there. And that guy, right when they were going into the bathroom, he tried to pull the girl into the bathroom and tried to fuck her right there. And I'm like, whoa, are you fucking serious? He's like, yeah, I saw her. And so I pulled him off or whatever. Now there's a security guard right there, and they're talking about it, whatever. And, I wasn't there, so I didn't see it. And so I'm like listening to them talk about it. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And the Japanese guy's like, oh, no, chill out. I'm their friend. I'm worried about them. I've been with them the whole time. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, isn't this the guy that has been like watching us? You know what I mean? And eventually, the police were just looking around, and, The other guy talked to him, and basically he's like, no, I'm their friend, I'm their friend. He's like, check out, check out, check out. And they just let the guy run away. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? So we all basically, eventually we get out, and oh man, the one girl's drunk, and if you saw the story, man, she had puke in her hair, and oh boy, she ended up, I didn't get all of this, but she ended up puking right outside of the elevator, and then people were stepping in it, and then the cops eventually came because she was so fucking hammered. And I was just like, whoa, that is crazy. And I'm like, so the police he tried to pull her into the bathroom and like basically we can assume raped this girl, and the police were just like, well, nothing happened. Okay. Is that not fucking crazy? And you got to think, of course, and I would assume they were joking, but it was funny that, we saw them on the street and they're like, we are underage virgins. We are underage virgins. Japanese, whatever, right? And, I would assume they were joking, but who knows? It's Japan, right? And I'm like, man, can you imagine that girl actually got raped in that bathroom, right? And the police would have just, like, let him go? Is that fucking crazy? Maybe it was because, we're foreigners or something like that. And, I wasn't there. I feel like if I was, so he said he pulled him off when he, like, started to bring her into the bathroom. You know what I mean? I feel like I would have pulled the guy off and just held him down until, the cops came immediately or something, like, hey, go get the cops or something, like, put the guy in a front face lock or put your knee on his whatever, dude, his back, keep him down. But it was just crazy because, like I said, I was like, whoa, what's going on? Where are you guys? Oh, we're here, blah, blah, blah. Something happened. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I'm like, that's the guy that had been watching us, dude. What the fuck? And I'm just thinking, man, the police were just like, they just let him go. That's fucking crazy, right? And so then I was asking this other Japanese guy about it and telling him about it. And he was like, oh, the Kabukicho tire. He's like, yeah, because there's a genderless bathroom. He's like, he immediately was like, oh, the genderless bathroom. He's like, yeah, that happens. If there's a genderless bathroom, he's like, yeah, a guy will sometimes try to take a girl in there to fuck her. So he's like, yeah, I can. He's like, he instantly was like, boom. He's like, oh, the genderless bathroom there. He's like, oh, that's where it happened, right? And I'm like, I guess. I didn't see it. He's like, oh, it must have been. He's like, yeah, that happens. I was like, if there's a genderless bathroom, he's like, yeah, people will try to do that. And I'm like, wow, crazy. So I guess that's probably the craziest story that I have from this trip, thinking about it. Just like, whoa, dude, really? I don't know. That's I don't know, kind of weird. I mean, do I have any other weird stories? Funny stories that, they were on my Instagram, I guess, but I didn't tell on YouTube. I have that one story. I was at a mini stop. That's another, not as common convenience store, but there's also, it's normally, 7-Eleven, Lawson, Family Mart, but there's also like a mini stop, very random, and there's a, I've actually never been in I think it's called Daily Yamazaki. I've never actually been in one, but, and there's a New Days, New Days, is that what it is? Sometimes I'll see a New Days or something like that. But anyway, I was in a mini stop. I guess it doesn't matter, but for sake of the story. And, I saw these two girls looking at me. And so then I like kind of turned around and, I waved at them, whatever. And the girl had an ice cream and she's like, oh, she dropped it. She's like, oh, and I'm like, oh, geez, sorry. And I apologized. And so then I walked away and I was like, okay, time out. I was like, even if they weren't that hot, I'm like, I got to go and talk to them. You know what I mean? Got to be as friendly as you can be. So then I left and I came back in. And I was like, oh, I just want to apologize again about your ice cream. And she's like, oh, what? And she fucking dropped the ice cream twice. And so we were talking, and I don't know, I guess, is that kind of a cute, funny story? And those stories of like a mom and a daughter trying to fuck me at the same time, the only stories I have are just, it's been very an American kind of trip. Lots of guys coming up and talking to me about how cool I must be, how many girls I must be getting. And I'm like, no, not that good. Haven't gotten anything yet, dude. And then, the girls I talked to, man, like I said, I can't believe that one model girl, man. She messaged me late at night being like, oh, I want to meet you so bad, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you're so cool. No foreigner like you has ever talked to me. Let's talk more in the morning, blah, 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 blah. And then boom, it's like, oh, the boyfriend thing. Oh, someone saw the messages, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, geez, come on. So I've got nothing. Or girls like, oh, I know you're having sex with too many people. I said, I can't believe girls actually use the term chick magnet. Chick magnet? You actually use chick magnet? Are you serious? Good English, but come on. And it's funny. So, there's even there's that hooker alley thing, right? And I guess one of the problems too is a lot of girls are being like, "Oh, okisugite, I can tell you're too big." I'm like, bro, I'm not that big. Come on. But I guess so. Again, in my broken Japanese, I feel like I've talked more Japanese this trip though than last trip, which I guess is good. But that's probably because people. I guess they remembered me from last time, and some people are like, "Oh, you're the Final Fantasy guy. You're the Final Fantasy guy that was blah blah blah." Yeah, you look like Final Fantasy. Oh yeah, we remember. We see you. Blah blah blah. Um. So I guess some people were saying that recently though, because I don't know if I told this. I think I told the story on my Instagram, but not here. I don't know if I didn't. That apparently what happened is a couple of guys, and they were American guys, took some girls to a love hotel, and then afterwards they reported them to the police or something. I guess because they were like, hookers probably, or hookers in Japan, right? And probably to report them and try to get them, arrested or get their money back or some shit like that. So I guess that's probably why one of the girls actually I was talking to and we were talking to for a while. And then she's like, "Oh, you're foreign, obviously you're foreign." She's like, "Yeah, but what country are you from?" And I'm like, "America." And instantly she was like, she walked away and she's like, "No." And I was like, that's weird. Why right when I said America? But I guess that's what happened. And it's funny as so some of the guys, there's that like hooker Alex. I'm like, oh my god, dude, I'm literally gonna have to pay for a hooker to get something this time, right? And so I'm learning about, I'm like being friends with all these other guys, fucking all these hookers and everything like that. And it's just like so common in Japan because, like I said, it's almost like you have roles in Japan. Like I said, it's like, the husband, he's not going to go have sex with the wife because maybe their place is too small, whatever. So you go and you have sex with the cute girl. That's their quotation marks role. They're cute right now. Their role is to be almost like a cum dumpster in a sense, in a bad sense, right? And they're so like open about it, and like kind of like there's like I said, there's like a gentle sadness about Japan. Almost. And actually, Nick here, he was telling me a funny story, or he made a weird thing. And he's like, do you ever think about that these like girls in high school or middle school, it's like right when they're middle school, they're more like, oh, I'm attractive enough that I'm going to be a catch girl. You know what I mean? If I'm just attractive enough, I'm going to be a catch girl. You know what I mean? Or maybe, that's what I'm going to be. That's going to be my job for the next so many years, right? That's their role almost, right? It's kind of sad, but in a sense, Japan is like that sort of like, what am I thinking? Like, it's like a group society, but with like clear, distinct roles almost. This is your role in life now. This is your role in life now, blah, blah, blah. Kind of chilly today. So again, it's funny because, I'm at the hooker alley for a while and I'm just talking to people like, man, and every girl that I've basically talked to has been like, no, because you're a foreigner. No, because you're a foreigner. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I can tell you're going to be too big. And it's funny. So like, there's like direct places like where this is when they're working and this is when they're talking, right? And so I've gone over, and since I've been talking Japanese more a little bit, what I mean, with some of the guys and stuff like that, we've actually become acquaintances and we're talking. Then some of the girls, when they're not working, they're right there. And they're like, oh yeah, we see you. They're like, oh yeah, you're Disney Prince. You look like Disney Prince guy. And I'm like, if you guys think I'm like the Disney Prince guy, why the fuck won't you fuck me? And it's like, yeah, but it's scary. You're too big. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, you're kind of complimenting. It's like, yeah, we see you. You're like the Disney Prince guy, but you're too big. It's scary. And I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like trying to talk Japanese. I was like, it's not that big. It's small. Let me tell you, it's the smallest one you've ever seen. Don't worry. And like, oh, you're so funny. You're really funny. But no, we know you're big, so no. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then you're talking to some of the Japanese guys, like, one of the Japanese guys, he was like, I don't believe you. He's like, go, let me see you. You're not actually trying. He's like, you're not trying. I want to see you. And I'm like, okay, I'll go up to her. He's like, go. And he's like, she said no, really? He's like, she said no to you? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, try her. So I'm like, so you see me talking about, it's like, I told you, dude, they don't want to be with the foreigner. Like, and he's like, He's like, well, too picky. He's like, go with one of the ugly ones. And I'm like, I'm not spending money. I'd rather just jack off, dude. And he's like, I don't know. So You know, almost I could say maybe my Japanese when they don't see me is good enough because one girl I kind of like was like I was like leaning over to the side, blah blah blah, and I kind of just started whispering to her and talking to her in Japanese. She's like, and then she looked at me and she's like, "Oh no, gaijin." And I was like, "Damn, are you serious?" But I guess the positive thing about that would be that before she turned around and she saw that I was a foreigner, me and her were actually talking, and then she turned away and she turned and looked at me. She's like, "Oh no, the foreigner, no, oh, I can't." And I was like, "Come on, bro, are you fucking kidding me?" Anyway, so it's been a pretty, like I said, no, not very, like I said, people, it's been a very American trip. Basically, lots of guys talking about how cool I am. The Japanese guys being like, why won't you fuck everybody? You know what I mean? Like, who cares if ugly girls want to fuck you? That's, you do that. You get to do that. You're the guy that gets to fuck all these girls, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't want to fuck ugly girls. And they're like, why? I'm like, I don't want to. Like, they're like, why? I don't know. You know what I mean? Oh, you must be gay. It's like, no, dude, they're just, some of them are like super intimidated and weird. I don't know. It's fucking, anyway, so those are like kind of a pretty anticlimactic trip. Like I said, at least that, the last trip, I feel like I had more interest in mom and daughter asking me to fuck them at the same time in the train. You know, there's obviously that story that one girl was actually, cute, but I asked if she was okay before we had sex, and then boom, boogers all over me. Oh, which was actually funny. It's actually funny. So, actually, this was a funny story. So I was talking to some of the Japanese guys, and because I know, I guess, sometimes complicated Japanese words, you know what I mean? Because I've played so many games, I'm like, oh, you know some big words, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh yeah, I used to play, aero gaze and, VNs and stuff. They're like, really? And they're like, what? I'm like, oh, like my YouTube. And they're like, Amagami, we've played that. And like, it's kind of weird, right? So I'm talking to some of these like older guys, some of them are very nerdy. Some of them are like businessmen. Oh, we played that game. We played that game. And they're like, Love Plus. Like, what? Love Plus. They're like looking at each other like, whoa. And they're like, laugh. I don't know. So that was kind of funny. So we're talking about, we have a camaraderie, and that we've played these weird visual novels and, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Oh, well. Remember, if you like the videos, like, sub, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. The end.